Hey, what if I hadn't said yes on that Valentine's Day?
I would be living in a cold, damp, moist corner in a puddle of self-pity right now.
We have a very special guest today. Our youngest son, Elijah, from Elijah Thinks podcast, is going to interview us on what Valentine's Day means to the Joya family.
Real life for real families. Hurts, habits, and hang-ups happen in every family.
Jerry and I are here with tools to help you trust God, clean house, and tell the truth to ramp up the joy in your family.
You have what it takes.
It's time to become sober on purpose. Hey,
Or
this is
is
a very
perfect.
special episode for Valentine's Day. It's an activity that we do with our kids, answering questions that they want to know about our marriage and how we got together. And so we have invited a very special guest. He is from the Elijah Thinks podcast. We'd love for you to listen to him on the Elijah Thinks podcast, and that's over at Amazon.com. Look for Elijah Thinks under the flash briefing sections. I'll leave a link down here in the show notes and in the details. He'd love for you to listen over there. So we're going to hand it over to Mr. Elijah, who is our youngest son, to interview us on our marriage and the things that we have done.
Hi guys, I'm sober on purpose. Just saying, I like to talk loud into my podcast, so this is gonna be a little ear piercing. As I like to say, opera. I don't like opera. I should do a podcast on my channel about opera. Okay, same subject. I'm gonna ask you a few little questions. It's a interview. Our first question is, when was the first time you got a Valentine from each other?
Who's that directed to?
Both of you.
All right, I'm going to let Tanya go first.
I don't know. The first thing that I remember is when we were living together before we got married.
In sin.
We got a huge box of chocolates from your mom. Remember, it was a big heart-shaped box of chocolates that she had sent all the way from Connecticut. And it had milk chocolate and dark chocolate. And we knew right away who was who.
That's a good point. I'm sure that did happen, even though I don't remember it. I do trust Tanya implicitly on that. And I'm also quite confident that I did get a few of those chocolates. My first Valentine that I remember from Tanya was when she said yes to my proposal to marry her. And that was the best Valentine's Day present I could have ever gotten.
The thing is, that didn't happen on Valentine's Day, but please tell me it was close.
It was pretty close to Valentine's
It did happen
Day.
on Valentine's Day. You did propose on Valentine's Day. Do you remember how it went? I was trying to tell him this the other day. What did you do to propose?
I got some dry ice and water, and I made smoke, and then I got down on one knee, and I showed her a picture of the ring that I wanted to purchase on the internet.
No, you had the ring.
Oh, did I?
You had the ring. But remember, why was there dry ice?
Because it was going to be mystical.
Lord of the Rings had just come out, and you were coming in the fog and the mist, and it was the mystery.
Yes, that's right. I'm pretty sure that's what I had planned, yes.
That's what you told me. So he did propose on Valentine's Day, Elijah.
Oh. Okay. So that's a pretty good Valentine's Day present. But speaking about the internet thing that he's gonna buy on there, that was the 1980s, for crying out loud. No internet. Computers though. There's computers.
We had internet, but it went beep. So we did have internet.
I guess that was radios. Our next question is, when was the first time you got a big box of heart candy from each other, not from your mom that I heard the story of?
The first time is going to be this year, I think.
You think you're going to get a box of heart candy this
I'm
year?
hoping I do. Something cheap and sweet.
Tell him you just got 2 boxes of candy and tell him what I did to it.
Help me remember what
the
the...
Russell Stover candy, and you got mad at me about
Oh,
it.
yeah. So I got some Russell Stofers that was a couple days outdated, donated to me from a work partner, and she ate it.
No, what did I do to
You
him?
threw away the rest of it. She ate half of every one,
no,
and she
I
said,
didn't.
"This is disgusting." And then she went on to the next one, and she'd eat half and say, "This is awful." and then she threw away the rest.
No, it was even worse than that. I put my thumb in all of them to figure out what they
Yeah,
were.
it was just
Because
mean.
I couldn't find the lid of the box first. But tell them what kind of chocolate you buy me, and you're
So,
really good about
Let
it.
me back up a little bit, because at first I come home with these unopened packages and she says, "These are awful," and she proceeds to open them, taste each one, and then put half of it back so it gets stale. But it doesn't matter that it got stale because she threw them away. So I buy
I was saving you from bad candy.
from half of every eaten one. You were saving.
Nobody should have to eat bad chocolate. Wait till you can afford good chocolate. Don't eat the bad chocolate on Valentine's Day. Give it to somebody else. Maybe give it to somebody that you don't like.
Tanya is a bad chocolate aficionado. So Tanya really likes single source dark chocolate, like, of the baker's variety, I think is.
No, single source dark chocolate. It's very much like wine, which of course we don't drink anymore. Based on where it is grown, you can get the fruity flavors, the nutty flavors, all those type of things. So if chocolate from Nicaragua will take different from chocolate from Guam, from Guatemala, all those types of things. Single source chocolate. Barring single source chocolate, then I want the high dollar dark chocolate, at least the equivalent of green and blacks.
Yeah, she really likes dark chocolate from the Napa Valley region, I think. You can really tell the difference where it was sourced.
You can't tell the difference. You eat squishy things.
I do. I like gummies. And,
Yuck.
you can always tell a good gummy because when you open it up, it smells like petroleum.
All right, on to the next question.
Okay, we got way off subject right there. Please don't do that again. Okay, our next question is your best and worst Valentine's Day.
With each other or with anybody?
Okay, literally anything. Literally anything.
Best and worst Valentine's Day. I don't know. I always hated high school with all the cheerleaders walking around with all the carnations that they got and how popular they were and all that stuff. I'm sure several of you have experienced that. It was not the best thing in the whole world. What about you?
Well, my best one was definitely when you accepted my proposal to marry you. And for the most part, Valentine's Day before that was pretty much Singles Awareness Day. And it was, I mean, my mom was always really good. She would always get me some sweets. Before my love affair with Tanya, there was the love affair with chocolate and candy.
I'm back with hard candy on that thing, which we got way off subject, and candy, and chocolate, and gummies. So there we go. It doesn't smell like petroleum when you open the bag, I hope. Okay, guys, what do you still do not know about each other?
Well, I don't know what I don't know. So what I don't know about Tanya is everything that I don't know about Tanya. It's a tough question, Elijah. I'm going to have to think about that for a minute. I don't know if she's going to be in a good mood when she gets home. I can tell you that. I don't know the right day to do laundry. I don't know how to keep her happy without pulling my weight in the relationship. That I don't know yet how to do. Or I don't know what the trick is about keeping her happy without doing my part as far as working on our relationship.
I never know what the next fetish is going to be. We're in the middle of the dirtbag phase of the Jerry fetishes. There could be something in another year or two. Yep. I never know what his full passion is going to be. And when he jumps in with both feet. And we all come along for the ride just to see what's going on. So I never know what that's going to be, Lige.
I think my next passion is going to be like yachting. I think we're going to get into yachts next.
I'd like to do that. Especially if we can cage dive. I like to cage dive off the yacht. What did you like most about each other in your young marriage?
Oh, I liked everything about Tanya when we were young.
We're still young.
I liked the way she slurped her soup. I thought it was cute when she snored. I thought it was cute when she squeezed the toothpaste from the middle.
I do that.
What about you?
So Jerry, this is my favorite story, and he threw away my can. I don't know if anybody out there likes Spam, but my mom used to fix twice baked potatoes with Spam, and I hadn't thought about it in years. So Jerry went out when we were first living together, and he did the first shopping for us. And he comes home, and he's so excited, and he shows me everything that he's bought at the grocery store, and he's putting it away in our little tiny kitchen, and he pulls out his very last thing, and he says, and here, in case we ever run out of food, we can eat this can of Spam.
That is not how it went.
It is how it went.
No, I said times are never really tough until we eat this can, is what I think.
But you didn't know that I liked Spam. So then I kept that Spam. I even thought about giving away little mini Spam cans for our wedding guests. Seemed a little not so nice. So I kept that can of Spam until
it started to bloat and it was ready to explode and kill somebody, and so I threw it away.
I cried.
I think we almost got divorced over that.
And then the other fun story was how Jerry decided that I had asked him out on our first date.
Yeah, I decided that I have a clear recollection of the history of the events.
I asked a group of people who was sitting at the table at the guest ranch we were working on if they wanted to go to the movies. And Jerry said,
I said, boy, that was a really slick ruse to try and get me to go to the movies with you. I don't know. What did I say?
You said, yes, I'm glad you asked me on a date.
See, I told you she asked me on a date.
Little bit off subject right there, but when did you first meet each other?
I remember this one. So, am I going to give the third grade version of this, you think?
Yep.
Okay, so I remember I was working at a guest ranch, and Tanya showed up at the guest ranch to start work there. She had done some professional stuff and wanted a little break from it. And she pulled into the guest ranch, which was very uncommon for somebody to come all the way down the main strip. It hit the circle, and I looked over and I saw this beautiful, young, fit, smart, intelligent, charismatic woman through the car window. And I said to myself, that girl will be my wife. I knew right then and there. Anyway, I said, can I help you? And she said, yeah, where do we park? And I told her, you got to go back out and you got to go 2 blocks over and in the left and in the dark, in the dirt lot. That's where you're going to park. And then this is where I stay in case you need anything at all, or something like that.
You didn't say that. You had to get boyfriend out of the way first.
Yeah, that's why I was doing the third grade narrative and you just ruined it.
Okay, first of all, I'm in 5th grade. Thank you. Okay, our next question is, what is the true meaning of Valentine's Day? And go for real this time, not 3rd grade.
Well, the true meaning of Valentine's Day is clearly chocolate.
Yes.
Candy. That's
Yes.
what it's all about.
Yes, I completely agree with that, because the rest of this Hallmark Hollywood fluffy yucky stuff, which we talked about in podcast number 12, is something that we don't really agree with. We agree that love is an action. Love is something that shows up even when it's not pleasant to show up. So Valentine's Day is really about chocolate.
Yes.
Chocolate-covered gummy worms.
Yeah, well,
Ew.
gummy worms, chocolate-covered jalapeno, chocolate-covered bacon. But,
Ooh, I hadn't thought about chocolate-covered bacon. Do you want some chocolate-covered bacon, Goofy Loofy?
so I think Tanya's just talking about, even when times are tough, even when, things aren't gelling and you feel like, that this is more work than it is payoff, it's always a good time for chocolate.
Yes, and let yourself off the hook for Valentine's Day. The key is really finding out what the other one expects. As we mentioned in the podcast number 12, we don't go out to dinner. We make a nice meal at home because it's crazy and expensive trying to go out to dinner. I have to say I don't care for roses all that much, so he doesn't bring me roses, which are crazy expensive on Valentine's Day. But we do try and spend some really quality time together as a family and do something like this. Have the children, I'm going to put these in the show notes, have the children ask you questions about your marriage. Ask each other questions about your marriage and the things that you remember. Look into each other's eyes and be there heart to heart. That's really what Valentine's Day is about. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. You know that?
I knew that.
Have you got your stuff together?
Maybe.
If you don't, we have a special love dare for you, and it is on thejoyousfamily.com. Pick any one of those exercises to celebrate Valentine's Day with your loved ones. It could be a child, it could be a spouse, it could be anybody. So go to thejoyousfamily.com/dare and find our love dare for some suggestions on how to make your loved one feel truly loved. And while you're at it, remember to hop over to the Elijah Thinks podcast. He has some great ideas on a kid's view of life, and he did this wonderful interview for us about Valentine's Day. Take a listen.